I have been getting a lot of requests for a Nax BIS tank list as well as a Nax tank guide. Those are coming. I thought I'd start off with this funny picture here where the cat came by and froze my camera temporarily. You can see the bushy tail. Thank you, Furu, for doing that. And also thank you for all the whispers in game that I get every day when I log in. So I appreciate y'all supporting me. And let's get into this. By the way, I'm going to be doing a ton of Nax videos. I've played just about every class on Classic in Nax, so I'm going to be sharing in-depth stuff so that you are super prepared to go in and kill all those bosses and not have horrible wipes, because that's not fun. So let's get into our Phase 6 Nax Fury Prot BIS list. It's old information. It's a 20-year-old game. But I'm putting content out anyways because you ask for it. But we'll still see one or two people in the comments talking shit. This here is, give or take, the Phase 5 BIS. Of course, there's a lot of different options here that you could sub out, but this is just kind of like, give or take. We're not going to go over that. That's an old video, and we're talking about Phase 6 now. So this is just like your non-human tank setup. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over all of the tier 3 pieces, because some of them are just awful. Then I'm going to go slot by slot of the other items, like the necklace, the bracers, the weapons, of course, and different things like that. But let's go over the tier pieces first. All right, so good old tier 3 Dreadnought bracers. These are fantastic when you need a mitigation piece. Highest stamina bracer in the game, strength, defense, high armor, chunky. Breastplate has 2% hit. A lot of times the tanky pieces are lacking hit, so this is a nice piece. It also has defense, it has dodge, and a lot of stamina. This is where it starts to get ugly. The tier 3 gloves, it has shield block value. A lot of the budgeted stats on this is just poo-poo caca, so you don't want to even bother spending the gold on making this piece of crap. Same for the belt, poo-poo caca. The legs, oops, that's the helmet. Where's the legs? And then the legs. The legs, in my opinion, they're a very bad piece. I'd rather just use Wrath. Use your tier 2 if you want a chunky piece. That's just me. Helmet, very nice piece. It has dodge, it has defense, a lot of stamina. It's just your tier 2 helm on crack. Shoulders. Again, it has shield block value. A lot of warriors use these. They're not bad, but if you're serious about tanking, you are rank 13, which are, in my opinion, the best shoulders for tanking. And if you want mitigation shoulders, then you get you get the shoulders from AQ40, the ugly green ones from Thankris. The boots, high stamina, really chunky piece, fantastic piece to have. And the ring, another great option. But of course, during progression, you can't really be expecting to get the ring off the last boss. So it's a great piece to get eventually. But on progression, we have bracers, chest piece, which drops from one of the last bosses you'll be killing, the helmet, and the boots. So those four are what I'd be going for. Bracers, chest, helmet, boots. And then eventually you get the ring and you can take off, like say, the boots. But those are my go-to pieces. Now keep in mind, these chunky pieces, they are not always going to be used. The gear I'm showing you right now, you could literally main tank all of Nax with this gear. In fact, you will. You will, because you're going to be going into Nax without tier 3, right? So you could kill Kel'Thuzad tanking this, or tanking with this gear, right? This is fantastic gear. The beauty of the tier 2.5 is it has crit, it has agility. Like this helmet is a fantastic Fury Prot piece. You're not going to be doing great on threat with a lot of tier 3. That is only for some bosses. That'll be covered in the tank guide. So Pendant of the Karaji, I like this because of the strength, stamina, agility. But what we will be going for is Sadist's Collar. This is from Gothic the Harvester, 24 stamina, 1 crit, 20 attack power. It's amazing. Other tanks will eventually want to use the Storm Rages from Kel'Thuzad. It's got half the stamina for a little bit more attack power and 1% more crit. It's great for like super aggressive, but probably you'll leave that to the DPS warriors and take the Sadist Collar, because I like to have some stamina, you know. I don't want to be just pure aggression. Cloak of the Fallen God is fantastic, and you're still going to be using that. Tier 2.5 chest. Bracers of Brutality, strength, stamina, agility. You eventually can get Wrist Guards of Vengeance, which give you a slight amount more strength, a slight amount more stamina, and then more crit, but less agility, therefore less dodge, right? So Bracers of Brutality they're great. They're great, man. I'd probably just keep on using Bracers of Brutality and tier 3 bracers and let the DPS warriors have the Wrist Guards of Vengeance, because we need to spread loot around. If they don't have Hive Defilers and they don't have Brutality, what are they using? ZG bracers, you know? We got to get our DPS warrior stuff as well. So I think that it's important to not just look at gear. What's the best for me? What's the best for the raid? Death Sting is fantastic. But let me introduce you to my little friend, the Harbinger of Doom. It drops from trash. It's very rare, but it's fast. 1.6 speed. This is what you're going to want until you can get like the Hungry and Cold. 1.6 speed. Stamina, agility, hit, and crit. The hit's fantastic, because that means you can now maybe wear some other gear that doesn't have hit on it, right? If you're taking your Oni neck off for the Sadist Collar, Harbinger's great. Of course, you will eventually want the Hungry and Cold, right? It gives you weapon skill. It's amazing. It's 73 DPS, 1.5, just the best. But again, should this be main tank prio? Yes, 100%. But you have to kill the last boss to get it, and it's a rare drop. So you have to have the progression mindset, and then what is your BIS? Because you don't always get your BIS, not in Nax. If you don't have Thunder Fury, and you just want to stay the dagger route, you know, Age Core Leather Gloves, Death Sting, and King's Fall main hand would be your go-to. Of course, you can also have Maxina's Fang, 1.8 speed, hit, attack power. This is another fantastic weapon to tank with. If you don't have Thunder Fury, so what you're going for is Maxina's Fang, Harbinger of Doom, and then Death Sting and King's Fall. 4 daggers. Tanks will have a lot of options. Rogues will want them too. But don't worry, humans. I don't like you, but I haven't forgotten you. So humans are in a weird spot. They just use the rank 14 Swiftblade, right? There hasn't really been any raid gear that they could use that isn't a dagger, right? AQ40 just has the AQR. But now we have Widow's Remorse. 1.6 speed, nice and fast. It's got hit and stamina, so it's not like a super aggressive weapon, but literally every human warrior is going to be using this sword. unless it doesn't drop. Now, there is another one, Iblis, which is what DPS warriors are going to want. Here's another one, 1.6 speed. This has no stamina. It's just pure threat. But do you really think you should, as a tank, take this over a DPS? So probably you're just wearing that Widows. And, yeah. Otherwise, it's the Grand Marshal weapon until THC. Yeah, you'll be using Edge Masters if you have Thunder Fury, or Edge Core Leather Gloves if you are using daggers. And if you're a human, you're using Steadfast Determination, obviously. Royal Karaji Belt is a great chonky belt, but now finally we're able to get Girdle of the Mentor. Strength, Agi, Stamina, and one hit, one crit. If you don't have Onslaught Girdle, you'd be going for the Mentor. If you do have Onslaught Girdle, I personally think you should stay with the Onslaught Girdle and let the warrior still using the ZG belt get Girdle of the Mentor. Me, I have Girdle of the Triad, which is basically the same as ZG belt. And so, most of the warriors in my guild have OSG, and so I will be essentially, next in line for being able to get the Girdle of the Mentor, or at least less competition for it. Chromatic Boots, rank 12 legs. If you're not world buffed, then you'd want to have, say, the tier 2.5 legs, and then the movement speed enchanted rank 12 boots. Circle of Applied Force still is great. Ring of the God Slayer. We do get another ring that Horde tanks will love. The Band of Unnatural Forces. Horde tanks, they gear very aggressively, and so Band of Unnatural Forces on a Horde tank is not uncommon to see. Of course, we do have the tier 3 ring for when you need to be chonky. Trinkets. Kiss of the Spider, man. This is such a powerful trinket for the main tank, and it's great for warriors too, don't get me wrong, but I think that main tank probably should be getting the first Kiss of the Spider, or needs to be getting one quick in line, because that attack speed bonus for 15 seconds is going to allow you to get a bunch of extra heroic strikes, gives you that important threat lead, especially on Horde. Because there's undead bosses, right? 56 attack power on DFT, but this is a fantastic trinket, Mark of the Champion. You have to kill Kel'Thuzad for that, but it's 150 attack power. And then there is the blue one. I forget the name of it. Sorry. Seal of the Dawn. 81 attack power. Very good. So you're going to be using on some bosses, maybe the Seal of the Dawn over the DFT potentially, if you're over the hit cap, just for that little extra attack power. DPS warriors, of course, we use that. For the ranged, we have Soul String. It's attack power, crit, and 6 stamina. So this is what all the tanks want to use, basically. And so this right here is kind of like my this will be like my go-to probably for Horde tanking, is this. Yeah. Now, of course, Alliance, you wouldn't be using Band of Unnatural Forces on Alliance. You would still go for the Godslayer, honestly, or something like that, or Arkham Tyros. And yeah, so that's basically it. And then for some of the bosses that hit a little bit harder, or you're going to be taunting a lot on, such as Thaddeus, then when you eventually get it, you will use your Dreadnought. But it's going to be a while before you can get all of these pieces, right? Like getting your 4-piece like that. So the nice thing about this is it reduces the resist of taunt. So on a boss like Thaddeus, I'll go over all the Thaddeus taunting in the tank guide, but basically there's a lot of taunting swapping between the tanks if the mage has a big ignite, and so the tier 3 is helpful for that. Honestly, the only fight I would really be wanting to use a bunch of tier 3 on, maybe some for Patchwork, especially if you're a hateful tank. But Patchwork main tanking, he doesn't hit that hard. It's more for hateful tanking. So honestly, tier 3, not the end all be all. There's just a couple side pieces. Necklace, weapons, belt, a trinket, a ranged weapon. Like 5 items for a tank. There's just like 5 items that you need as a tank. And then you'll get the tier stuff eventually. You don't have to go crazy for the tier stuff. Now, when it comes to shields, Face of Death is the best in slot shield just because it has so much armor and stamina. However, there's also the Plague Bear off of Patchwork. It has stamina, defense. It's a good shield as well. Yeah, it's just these 5 tank items. There's not a lot of new items here for your best in slot for this new phase. Yeah. There you go. Let me know if you have any questions. If you enjoyed the video, drop me a sub and a comment. Catch me live on my Twitch channel, Dwarf Lord TV, to connect with me or say hi to me in game on any of my characters. Dwarf Lord out.
And they say that the Dwarf Lord could save us. I'm not gonna pave here and wait. I'll hold on to the beard of the Dwarf Lord. Watch as we heroic leap away.